click record this, just in case it's going up on the YouTubes as well. I don't know. We'll see. So, might cut that bit out. So welcome everyone. How's it going? How are you doing? You notice how when it's just me, we start at 7? On the hour. So, hello everyone and welcome to, I wasn't sure what to call this because, Bentham, you calm down. I wasn't sure what to call this because it's like technically after show, but also it's also a Q&A, and it's basically the after the end of Moonkissed last week. I chatted with the cast and I was like, hey, what do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to do with next week? Because we're originally planning to go to Sunkissed, but we're all feeling quite wiped after the 4-episode Moonkissed intense emotional times, and everyone was like, you know what, a week off wouldn't be bad. So I was like, okay, I'll do a Q&A type thing next Monday, and we'll start Sunkissed up again on the 8th. And also, honestly, I think for everyone who was watching Moonkissed, like, obviously there's gonna be people who are like, I won't watch, you know, I'll check out the Sunkissed when it's back, but little break for them of the Monday show. But yeah, it was like, yeah, just have a little bit of a palate cleanser and time to digest Moonkissed, and then we'll go back to Sunkissed next week. So I was wondering why it was on time. You know, funny enough, Vandy's been showing up first, or like really before the rest of them, and just like leaving the camera on when she jumps into the Zoom, and then running off to do all the stuff that she does. So, Chaos, hey, how's it going? It has been a while. Maybe on these Q&As, I should have like some, you know, notifications. I don't. So here's a piece of information. I don't have, and I don't intend to have, like notifications and stuff on the roleplay streams. So Sunkissed, Moonkissed, any other TTRPG shows I do in the future, I don't intend to have like so-and-so is followed, so-and-so is subscribed, and all that type of thing. It's a little thing, and you know, it's not, but I feel like the way my shows have been going, I don't want to distract things from what's happening, you know? Like, it gets quite deep and quite atmospheric, if you'll allow me to use that word. It gets quite atmospheric in some of the shows, and I feel like having like Bumblefuck 97 has subscribed or has followed would, I don't know, maybe like break that very slightly. I want those things. Hey, Captain Defiance, how's it going? It's so weird for me to do Q&As now, because whenever I stream, it's a show, and I just ignore chat, basically, for the most part. So now I'm doing this, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Chaos Cop, Combat Zerg, thanks for the sub. Frickin' 8 months, man, Jesus. Captain Defiance, Card Eater, thank you for being on time, Danny Sheepdo. Well, it's easy when I don't have my players here to slow me down. So nice to see someone actually valuing being on time, unlike those Canadians and their relaxed relationship with watches. I did say Vandy's been better at like, there's always one though. There's always one who's a little bit late, or, you know. In Awkward Boy, covers me in Awkward Boys and a Ravnos or 5. Thank you. totally unrelated, but not that long ago you shaved your face, but now you're already full weresheepy mode. How do you grow your hair that quick? I'm an unfortunately hairy man. Yeah, no, like, I shave my head and my beard, and this is like, you know, it just grows really quickly. Yes, do a Q&A while ignoring chat. I could do that if I had, like, a place for people to put their questions in Discord. I could just go through all of those and just ignore chat, but, so yeah. And incidentally, for those of you who have resubscribed once again to the slowly changing Daddy Sheepdoo channel, which incidentally is undergoing a name change and a rebranding type thing as soon as I can manage it. Let's not get me started on that right now. Hopefully there'll be new emotes for you to go along with the channel change, which should be quite fun. Well, the chat, it'll still be this channel, but the name is changing. Basically, the YouTube name is changing very slightly because I'm not focusing on gaming anymore. And I'll be brain. And I'll be doing like more roleplay focused and storytelling focused stuff. And then this channel will be like dedicated to TTRPGs, which, like, I don't think anyone here is gonna have a problem with. I don't think anyone who follows me or watches my current content will mind, because that's all I do anyway on this channel now. So it is already, but it's gonna be, you know, official. And like that's why the name changed, because like before I was Daddy Sheepdoo, and I still am at the moment, but we'll change the name. And it's like, yay. Although it's not great for a TTRPG channel, you know. Like if I was to go and like try and get a you know, someone I didn't know onto a show, I'd be like, hey, do you want to come and do roleplay on my channel? They're like, what's the channel name? I'm like, oh, it's Daddy Sheepdoo. They're like, what kind of roleplay is it? I could do some Dwarf Fortress on Discord. I could maybe manage it on my YouTube. So maybe I'll live stream some Dwarf Fortress on YouTube at some point. GM was hurting the player, so Sheepdog will still make sense. It's true. It's true. And I'll still be Sheepdog. Like, I won't be running around being like, hey, I'm Dice Forte. You know, just like every oh god, Bentham's here. I can't say that joke. No, every like RP channel tends to be a pun on like dice and tabletop, and you know, so you've got Critical Role, roll, and you got Roll for It, you got Table Story, you got Encounter RP doesn't really, and Unmade Gaming doesn't either, and you got Trooper SJP, who I always say, who in my head I always go Trooper SJW, not because Trooper's an SJW. Trooper's like a amazing critical thinker. I really enjoy watching their streams of that stuff. But roleplay, yeah, there you go. Thank you, Bentham. I haven't got to the point, Bentham, by the way, where I'm saying Benat like in my head, like but it's getting there, because every time I now say Bentham, my brain goes Benat. So yeah, I won't tell you guys what the channel is getting changed to, because last time I did that, it was gonna be Dat Sheep Do. Instead, you know, like Daddy Sheep Do, it was gonna be Dat Sheep Do. And then when I finally got the chance to change it, someone had already taken it. So as a massive middle finger to literally everyone, including myself, I changed the name to Daddy Sheep Do. And it's like a year or two later, and I'm still here. So I'm not telling you guys what it is because someone will steal the fucking thing. I'm trying to think now. Yeah. So aside from all of that, I have a few ideas. I'm hopefully going to be opening up a new show slot once I've sorted that thing out. So basically, I'm working on something for Bentham. But aside from that, I'm working on rebranding the channel. I'm working on sorting out a couple of show ideas for myself. Kind of like I'm starting to work on the replacement for Sunkissed for whenever it ends, and I'm starting to work on a couple of ideas for Friday. So yeah, busy. Although at the same time, I think we're all feeling this a little bit, and I'll put my hand up and say it. Like there is a heavy part of me which is like, I could do this right now, or I could leave it for another week and just watch TV and wallow in lockdown and fear of global pandemic. Who else is feeling that vibe recently? or like for the past year or so. I get the feeling that Sunkissed will only end in a blaze of glory. So yeah, I don't know how long we're gonna go. I tend to not want to go above the 2-hour mark for the Q&As. But one of the things I'm thinking of doing. Okay, you know what? Before we go into like throw out your questions and we can start chatting and about Moonkissed and Sunkissed and everything else. I never watched Dynasty, so I don't know how Dynasty ended. So I can't tell you. And also, I don't really have control over how it's gonna end. Not much control. Yeah, incidentally, if you see, is it that way? Yeah, down in that corner there, that's the painting for, in the little, where usually like the rolls and stuff goes. That's the Wild Hunt painting. I just decided to put it in there, why not? But yeah, so, he now can't remember what he was going to say. Sunkissed doesn't end for lockdown. No, I think it's gone. Sunkissed ends when someone blows the horn. I mean, that does sound a little dirty. But, basically, the last episode was a wedding where for some reason some armed people dropped in and shot everyone. That sounds kind of like depending. It sounds like a cop out, depending on the story and like whether there was allusions to that or whatever. JR sets fire to his oil fields, and Sunkissed characters feel the fossil Sunkiss. I actually was teased with what may or may not be coming soon. It's like an inevitable cool. It was very much cop out. As a player, I totally would have blown the horn when it was discovered. But that's as a player, not as a cast member. This is one thing that I find really interesting, and I'm happy to talk about it. There's a big difference between being a TTRPG player and a TTRPG show cast member. As a player, there's a lot more emphasis on winning, on the GM sets challenges for you to overcome. It's a game. You're supposed to win. You're supposed to, you know. I've found, at least for my GM style, I'm not good at that. I'm not really one to be like, oh, my players are doing well, I must punish them. I must give them something that will defeat them, or, you know, whatever. As a show GM, I just tend to be, you know, like, my thoughts are always on the characters and on the stories, and how I can, like, challenge their roleplay and all that type of thing. So, but yeah, when you're on a show, like, there's a tendency to worry about derailing things. So, you know, and my players are aware that I put stuff in which can legitimately, like, sidetrack everything. So they're like, okay, interesting. And also, when you're role-playing, like show role-playing, etc., there tends to be, like, a lot more emphasis on what would my character do. And if you find this random fucking thing, you're not going to be like, burp. So yes, I can't remember what I was originally going to say. There was something I was going to say before I opened up the questions and anything, you know, talking about Moonkist and etc. But I can't remember what it was. So, does anyone have questions, or do we want to discuss any parts of Moonkist or Sunkist or the channel or anything along those lines? Also, when Sunkist ends, I will end too. Can't imagine future without Sunkist. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy the thing I have planned after it, although it's possible that there may be a bit of a break in between Sunkist and the next planned, I have actually said what the name of the show will be in a Discord. Where occasionally I, like, play a game, and some people in the Discord will come and hang out, and I did say what the name of the next show I have planned for Mondays is. Starts talking tech lingua to all things. Is there a sun-worshipping cult we can join? There probably is in real life. I imagine so. Maybe Aztec, but I don't know anything about that. Speaking about Dynasty again, they afterwards resumed it, and only a couple of unimportant characters actually died. That sounds like typical bad writing I expect from today's writers, the current generation of writers. Do you have ideas for cast for whatever follows at Sunkist? So there's a couple of the Sunkist cast want to stay on and want to carry on with the next thing. And I have a few ideas for cast, but the problem is like the next thing will also be similar to Sunkist in that it will be slightly indefinite. So it'll be harder for people to, you know, I'm gonna be as flexible as I can, as I was with Sunkist. I said to them, you know, like, if we get to a point where you can't keep going, we'll figure it out. So yeah, like, hopefully I've got some ideas of who I'd like, and I've reached out to a couple of people as well. So we'll see. Was there a plan for something planned for if the players went after Barn, and if so, what was it? I was fairly certain that they weren't, but they just catch up to Barn. The only thing that Barn really gave Typhon was the fact that there were werewolves around, so he was prepared for that. Typhon, by the time he was up in Canada, basically, could already feel the egg, and it's, you know, like, he was wandering around a lot, trying to pinpoint where it was, but he was slowly getting there. Yeah. always nice. It's always nice when you get bots, because you kind of assume they're not going to send bots, you know. Maybe they do send bots to every channel. But, RE Sun Worshipping Cult, please see Mithras. Or, whoever the fuck Typhon was. So, the players do not know how to speak Garu. The players don't know how to speak Garu, no. I don't think so. I'd be worried if they did. So yeah, it's, oh, jeez. I have played Pathfinder once. One of my friends GM'd a few little sessions of it, and it was a lot of fun. But, we were all busy, and they were all real life. They were like mates who I played games with years and years back. And, they all had real lives, and they didn't do that much, like, internet time, so it fell apart quite quickly, but it was fun. You don't feel like you've made it until you get the bots. That's true, that's true. Man, back when I was playing Blood Bowl 2, I got so many bots, and also streamers, because if you're doing well, all those streamers that you're like, oh hey, how's it going? You know, you meet every now and then. They suddenly take a massive interest in you, and they're like, oh, hey, I haven't been in your stream for ages. I'm like, yeah, I know, that's weird, right? So yeah, Moonkissed, Sunkissed, channel. I heard that a new edition of Pathfinder is pretty interesting. Back to topic. Yeah. I like Pathfinder and D&D. Obviously, I've played like D&D is the standard for TTRPG stuff. So I've played it a few times. I've even GM'd it a little bit. But Pathfinder, I know very little about. Okay, so specifically, has the pack gone into the Umbra, either stepping sideways or peering across into the Umbra? The pack has in the past, a long, long time ago. But the pack in the story, like, all the player characters, no. No. And like this is like you would not believe how little I know about Werewolf the Apocalypse. As I said, it was very sheepified. I read as much as I could. It was 20th edition, and I've been it's 20th anniversary edition. I was told that that's not the best rulebook ever. Although I'm sure people disagree, but that's what I was told by people who like World of Darkness stuff. It was very hard to read. It was very off-putting. So I tried to get very specific and stick to just a few bits and pieces, and then just cheapify everything. So yeah, them needing their spirits to blaze the path to cross over, I have no idea about that. That's like, that's something I didn't read or anything. The basics what I went over were the tribes. I wanted to see which tribes could fit in, and I found the Croatan. And I was like, this could work for what I want to do. For a short shot campaign, unlike like for Sunkissed, I read into all the lore and everything for Vampire. But for Moonkissed, it was only going to be a few episodes, and I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to make more of like a werewolf wilderness survival feel to it, with like an like I wanted it to feel very basic, and then like surprise you guys with an actual big bad guy, because I never do big bad guys. Unless I'm doing chaos, and I'm forced to. So was Typhon the servant of the worm, or another old danger in that world? I know very little of the World of Darkness universe. Yeah, me too. So Typhon was my idea of, like, not evil, but just an ancient power, like, lurking in the world. You know, like, out in the middle of nowhere, guarded by werewolves who don't know what they're doing. And I just loved the idea of a bad guy. Like, my only notes to Peachy was, you want to, like, Typhon wants to consume the egg to get the ability to shift into his, effectively, war form. And after he does that, the wolves really aren't an issue for him. Like, he does not care about the wolves. So I'm like, if you have to beat them up to get to the egg, that's fine. If you need to kill them to get to the egg, that's fine. But, I leave it to you. You want the egg, get it however you want. Once you've done that, you just want to head back down to, like, Middle America, like Central America, and, like, start your kingdom. Sheepy, I'd like to ask your opinion on something about more serious shows that put a lot of effort into production. It may be a bit not quite controversial, but I understand why people would not agree with my view. Do you want to talk about Table Story and one of their shows? Because I know they're putting a lot of effort into their production. I see. Good start point. That is absolutely fine. I will give my honest opinion, if you want, or if you just want to be like, I hate Table Story, I'll be like, that's fine. Peachy played that really well. Yeah, Peachy played that perfectly, didn't see it coming at all. Yeah, I was trying in the earlier ones to set up the idea that the stone egg is nothing, or it's not doing much, and then like slowly creep in, like maybe it's something to do with the pack and them losing their, but I didn't want to, like, you know. So Peachy could have just killed them there and then and taken over the world. Damn, so close to a sun god. Peachy, Typhon was strong enough before his war form to pretty much equal. He'd be at a disadvantage because there'd be multiple wolves, like, being able to gang up against him. But he had a fairly equal chance to beat them as they had to beat him before he shifted. So, could the players join Typhon as his first new members to his kingdom? Probably not. As I said, he didn't really care about them. They weren't his subjects in his eyes, and they were just piddly little werewolves dicking around in the wilderness. And he was pissed off that he had to go all the way up into the cold. PG was very convincing, wasn't he? Yeah. When I came up with the idea for the show, I wanted 1 or 2 guests on. I was considering trying to get a guest for Barn. Josh considered playing Barn, but decided to go with a wolf with the rest of the cast. So I figured I'd play Barn, and then, like, the only person I had in my head to play Typhon was Peachy. So I was gutted I missed that reveal last week. Yeah, it was a lot. It was good. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed what you have done. It's nice to watch others play who do not already know the answers. As a player of 20 years, I sometimes wonder why other players not doing this or that. I forget they do not know everything. That's refreshing. Yeah, and also, like, the way I tend to do my shows, because they're shows, that's part of the reason why I sheepify things. You know, like, for example, Tess being like technically a hybrid monstrosity, but different, is like, when you're like yourself, when you have like 20 years of experience and knowledge, when you watch a show, you're just like, I know what's happening here. I know what this is. I know I know everything that's going to happen. Because you have that knowledge, you can piece together where, a storyteller's taking something. So I tend to like customize. I try to keep the feel and the atmosphere of whatever it is I'm doing, like 40k or Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf the Apocalypse. I try to keep in the spirit of it in the thing, but I will shift lore and do things that aren't really like spoken about. I'll find like a pocket of lore that's very, very vague and be like, I'm just gonna slip in here and do stuff in here, and hopefully everyone will be fine with it as long as I try to like capture the atmosphere and the feel of the game, of the things. What are your top 5 RPGs? Cheers, Tea Party Fox. My top 5 RPGs. I'm assuming you mean TTRPGs and not like PC RPGs. Okay. I will do my top 5 and then I'll address what you typed, V-Mushroom. So, my top 5 RPGs, if we're going by TTRPGs, would be Vampire the Masquerade. I love the setting. I love the idea of it. Rogue Trader. This is in no order, by the way. Rogue Trader would be top, just purely because it's one of my first TTRPGs. It suits me as a GM and a little bit as a player. I love the setup of it. I love the idea of it. So Rogue Trader, 140k. Warhammer Fantasy, I haven't played it that much, but I haven't GM'd it at all. But Warhammer Fantasy seems to be done the best way. The D100 systems for Warhammer and Games Workshop can be done. It seems like they've made it a lot better. It still has problems that are inherent with the system, but they did it very, very well. This is where my lack of TTRPG experience comes into play, because I'm like, that's like most of the systems I've played. I like Mage. I like the idea of Mage. I would sheepify it. The problem is I sheepify everything. And like a lot of the time, it's gonna be like the setting and the atmosphere of a game as opposed to like the rules and everything. Is what I like, because it means I can do the thing I want to do in there. I like the setting of D&D. I just don't like the system of D&D. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really that I've played that I've like really been like, oh yeah, no, that's good. It'll probably have to be something along the lines of like Legend of the Five Rings, because I like the idea for that and the setting. I'm not sure about the system. Wow, it's very, very clear how little experience I have, because I only ever do shows, and I have the experience of like a couple of years. So I'm in terms of what most people have. I probably have like very little experience and everything. So sorry. As Rule Zero says, you're doing nothing wrong if you're the GM. That's I tend to. I'll go through all of yours, V Mushroom. I'm just going through what people are saying. Rule for Mage make no fucking sense, so no issues there. I want to do a Mage short. I have an idea for it, kind of. Your favorite is 40k Rogue Trader, yeah. D&D have shit ton of settings. Okay, so let's go through V mushrooms because we're talking about table story, and I'm not gonna be politic. I'll give my honest opinion because I like table story, but no one's perfect. Get ready for shots fired. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, what I've noticed watching the last show and knowing how much effort went into the last one, I'd made the effort put in the planning that PB does for the story and characters. How this reflects on music commission, background artwork, and all of that. But in the end, once the show starts, it's fancy backgrounds with webcams slapped on top of people sitting at their desks, sometimes in cosplay. I love listening to the Cerebrum project, but I had to listen to it like a radio show. Because it was just too clashing with the effort put in all the other graphics, which feels like a pity with all the work involved. So I thought, what would you think of instead of webcams to keep players off screen and represent them in the show with the design of their characters, possibly in the scene they're in? That would be more work in production, of course, but a lot of work is being done already with everything else, so it would look more like cutscenes maybe in old RPG games. It's interesting because, like, I'm there with you, honestly. I am very, very impressed with how PB's done on her term on Table Story. She's just been, like, better ideas, more innovations. But the thing is like, it's not a shame if you try an innovation, if you try something new and it doesn't work. And like, it doesn't work for me. I'll put my hand up. Like, the Cerebrum project, I haven't watched much of it, and that's primarily because I get janked out of watching the second that you have like me in this room here. If you have like graphics at the back and everything, and then you have like it just doesn't really work for me. Yeah, no, it's from what I can tell, it's very, very good. And it's much in the same vein as Gone, like trying to take it a bit further. I would say either you do it offline as a podcast with no visuals, or with like maybe a few commissioned scenes drawn for visuals during the thing, and then you can do the production on that like that. Or I know, because this is the thing, is like there's lots of people watching it, lots of people seem to be massively enjoying it, so like maybe it just doesn't work for me, and it's still like a very valid way to go. It gives me theatre recording vibes most of the time. I know, like I try to I feel like it pushes that balance between theatre of the mind and trying to make treating people like they have no imagination, and trying to put everything on the screen so that you don't have to imagine, you don't have to think. I think it'll be easier for the layman, you know, the person who doesn't do TTRPGs, to it'll be a bit more accessible to them maybe. But at the same time, I don't know. But no, that's I was worried you were gonna be like, do you think having character representations that would not be as expressive as actual people, if done like in similar style, like maybe a more drawn look than CGI, and have drawn characters? I think what you could have done is you could like, and this is like not considering budget. What I would do in a perfect situation is have the scenes, sure, and then yeah, have drawn characters with like 20 to 30 expressions. You know, so you could like shift through the expressions as their mood changes and as they but again, that's and that's the thing about RP as well, is you, unless you're Peachy doing a comedy bit, the physical actions and stuff are very minimalist. So it's harder to if you're going for full visuals, the cast have to be very visual as well, and they're not. So again, you know, because it's roleplay, it's not that visual. Like the visuals you see tend to be the people doing the, you know, you get some crying, you get a little bit of gesticulating, but you don't get the whole body experience. I don't know. It's part of the reason I don't do like battle maps very often. For the most part, I don't feel they're needed. I feel it's better to picture it in your head, as long as you can like give the visual of what's happening. So there was a question about how I feel about Critical Role. I think that Critical Role is a bunch of very talented voice actors who are also very passionate about roleplay and TTRPGs, specifically Dungeons and Dragons in particular, who have found massive success and money in that, and now probably are more concerned with keeping things going than actually doing anything interesting or helping anyone else out. And this isn't me being like, well, why don't they raid me? It's just, you know, like, there's no paying it forward or no paying it back. As far as I can tell, and probably not much knowledge of the wider community. It's rare for there to be a battle on here. That's true. We don't do much fighting on here apparently. But yeah, Critical Role, I understand why people like it. It's a gateway drug to TTRPG. The problem is that it's a gateway drug with no push further on. So people like, you look at Critical Role's numbers, and then that community of Critical Role doesn't go much further than Critical Role. It doesn't like expand out into TTRPGs for the most part. I'm glad you agree. I came to this because I had an idea to maybe try and make a prototype of like a sort of puppeteering for each player, that they could control the expressions or gestures of their characters. As usual, I overcomplicated in my head, so I probably won't attempt that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would be really cool, but yeah, that would be complicated and difficult. And I remember one battle, it was over before initiative. It really was, wasn't it? An arm got pulled off, and that wasn't really a battle though. That was just that was kind of political, social maneuvering, and then an ambush. And Tash is scary. Not even Chris, just Tash. So yeah, I'd say like this is the thing, is it's not worth being negative really about things like Critical Role. It's popular. Like, if it's not my cup of tea, clearly they're doing something right. You know, I do occasionally watch like a few clips, I have a lot of respect for Travis Willingham. Watching him roleplay is fascinating because he is like the epitome of no meta, no worries about winning or losing. He just plays his fucking character. It's amazing. It was literal bushwhacking. You'd probably need a few actors to record the movements and use the vote feature for which one to pick. I watch a lot of Twitch RPG shows to learn different roleplayer styles. I watch one where the female player character refers to herself in the third person. It works so well for her. Yeah. I tried to watch a lot of shows, but I don't have that much time, and invariably it gives me ideas, and I go off and I'm like, oh, and then I like write down a crap ton. Like, my idea notebook is so full. I'm never going to be able to do all the stuff that I've written down. But yeah, I think if I was doing that Cerebrum project, you'd have to step up the player production. You'd have to have like players with cameras that can capture the whole of them with a green screen, like at their feet and everything, and have them being able to move around a little bit and to act. And it wouldn't be RP precisely. It would be more acting, and it like that feels the way that the Pumpkinberry's TTRPG shows are going. Is it feels like they're drifting towards just acting as opposed to roleplay. Maybe I'm off a little bit there. But yeah, so if you're gonna go in that direction, I'd say you have to have the players be able to do those things to keep up with the production of the show. So if the show's stepping up its production, the players need to be in that zone as well, which they aren't. Like, and you shouldn't expect them to be. I don't even like cosplay or anything, you know, when I'm in a show or anything. I've tried a couple of times, but I'm bad at it, and I'm bad at being able to find that, you know, I'm just shit. So, what was the other thing? The other thing was the other thing was Critical Role, which is I'm sure you could cosplay as a bear. I'm a bear. Yeah, the other thing was Critical Role, which is basically sure. It's fine. It's good for it's like popular for a reason, which is the roleplay is very good, the voice acting is very good, the DM is amazing. I don't think anyone would try and argue that Matt Mercer doesn't put a lot of effort and time and thought into his shows. It's just eventually, like, anyone who delves deeper into TTRPGs and into like TTRPG shows, you can see like they have a lot of benefits of like high money and high production and stuff like that, which helps. But they also have the D&D like market lockdown, and they're not moving away from it. Like, they'll do a one shot of Vampire the Masquerade or Call of Cthulhu or something, but they pay lip service to TTRPGs. They're just D&D, and I don't find D&D interesting. So it's like, it's good to hear honest opinions from you. Well, yeah, I'm just burning bridges, basically, man. No, like I'm gonna be like, there's no mean feelings in it or like criticism. It's just I can only say what I see. You know, I can be critical of myself as well. You know, oh god, now I have to be critical of myself. I tend to be a bit too easy on my players. I tend to sometimes get buried in the story so much I don't give a thought to like where the players want to go. Which, you know, I like to think I'm good at understanding the characters that my players have made, and like coming up with things for them. But I think at times, like, I can get that wrong. I'm trying to imagine Sheepy cosplaying as his character in EE's Mage game. Which one? There were 4. It would have been amusing. I'd have, like, in that game, I'd have had to, like, do costume changes, like, mid-game. It'd be interesting. It's not your fault when you try to kill them, you get sheepy dice. Yeah. Yeah. Sheepy dice. Although, a firm hand, but a loving one. That makes me think of, when you bite the hand that feeds. That song. Ah, god damn it, I can't remember what it is. Might be 9 Inch Nails. I see your point of view. Also, there seems to be enough room for different concept styles. Yeah, like this is the thing is again, if something doesn't vibe with me, or if I'm like I don't really go with that. That's not what I do. You know, like for example, Geek and Sundry. You know, they had Critical Role, they had Tabletop, and Geek and Sundry, the channel, and the YouTube channel, and the Twitch channel, they decided, hey, we're gonna be TV. We're gonna make TV episodes. We're gonna try and be television, but on the internet. And it didn't work, and then the channels died. You know, like, I was always critical of that, but I was never like, it's the wrong way to go. You don't know until you try it. So it's like at the end of the day, PB Pumpkinberry is doing a really amazing job with the shows. You know, I may have criticisms, or I may have my own take on them, which can be positive and negative at the same time. But you can't deny the success and the popularity of something. So if you know, I think the first episode of Cerebrum Project had like 1,000 something viewers. Like, who am I to argue with people enjoying something like that? You know. Any questions about Moonkissed or Sunkissed? Like, I'm happy to burn all of my bridges in the TTRPG community and just you know, criticize and give my own opinion on everyone in the community, on all the channels. Be like, you know, Unmade Gaming, hate Unmade Gaming, worst person in existence, you know, roll for it, burn it to the ground. Table Story, fuck Table Story. Critical Role, I'm better than Critical Role. Come at me, bro. I'm sorry if I made you burn your bridges. I do fear what happened if is that supposed to be PB? PB, Peachy, and Sheepy got together to make a show. The players wouldn't survive. Who would do what? Be interesting. Also, why are there boobies on screen? Classical painting boobies, but still. That is the... Are they actually boobies? Not really. The players would be fine so long as Sheepy rolled. Wow. That is the Wild Hunt classic painting depiction of the Wild Hunt. Okay, so it was supposed to be I just had to make sure. I was pretty sure it was PB. But I have an idea for a show that I'm thinking about pitching at Table Story, because it's just a one-shot. But I need to work on it more before I pitch it, so... I guess, like, there's not too much to... like, I gave you pretty much all the information you needed for Moonkissed. There's probably not too much to question or ask about, and it's been a little while since we've done Sunkissed. I will say that we're definitely getting towards the end of Sunkissed. You can see that horizon. Like, basically, for anyone who's wondering or worried, Sunkissed is heading towards a finale, but what we will do past that finale is carry on with Sunkissed to close out the individual character things. So it's very possible, like, we may lose one of the players because their character has closed out their story, but the rest of us will keep going until we've found like a nice little ending for their character, and we'll finish off all of those things, because it's like there's no point in closing out the story of Sunkissed, of Weirgate, and then being like, okay, so everyone else just like kind of, yeah, we'll just stop following them there. It's you're assuming that they survive. Yeah, that's assuming that they survive, of course. As I said, I'm not really a murdery GM. He says after killing all 4 of his players in the last short campaign. Do you think it would be possible to do, like you said, one-off episodes where the whole story happens in one episode? I have an idea for that, but I'm not good at that, so I don't know. With the Sunkissed crew, no. Like, we tried to do that with Halloween, and it turned into 2 episodes. So yeah, like with Sunkissed, like, it's very possible that the city gets sorted out, and maybe 1 or 2 players or player characters will be done with their story fairly quickly, but we'll still have like thin threads of character story to go. So we'll keep doing Sunkissed just with a few less people, until we close out everyone's story and everything's like if they die, if we get to like with Marlowe, you know, like just getting to that ending where you're like, okay, the story is ended, but also what happened to this character. There's no point in just snapping your fingers and being like, everyone's done. Because it's like, you know, what happened to Tess? What happened to Nahari? What happened to Alec? You know? You want to know these things. And if you're going to expect and ask everyone to get invested in a show and in characters, then the least you can do is give satisfying finales to everything, to the things they've got. Apparently the police don't agree. Given the current state of writing, especially in Hollywood, I wouldn't be surprised if good writing and thoughts like, hey, you have to give satisfying endings to everything, is illegal. So, yeah. Apparently, Twitch is a little broken as well at the moment. So if you're typing and sending messages and they're not coming through, apologies. You can, if you want, type in the Sunkissed spoilers in my Discord. I'll keep my eye on there. So I've now opened Sunkissed spoilers. Feel free to, in the Discord, just type in there if you're trying to talk, but you can't. Any more questions or thoughts or anything? anything anyone wants to ask or query about Moonkissed, Sunkissed, the channel. Is it just that you can see the chat? I mean, I can see the chat, brother. But one shots tend to be more railroady, yeah. And I would try and I'd try and make a story that didn't require like loads of world building and character building and stuff like that. So I'd hopefully be able to do it. The reason I'm not a fan of one shots is like it takes you time to get into your character and to find your character. Even with all the character building and like GM player time, you know, every time you make a character, 2 or 3 episodes in, you go, this is my character. So yeah, that's my basic take on one shots. It's not that I don't like them. It's just I don't think you can do much deep. Like even Moonkissed would be. I'm not sure it'd be more impactful because like I'd have liked to do like 10 episodes, and the first like 7 would be just scene setting and character setting and doing things that aren't important. But I feel like a lot of people would have switched off after a while and been like, nothing's happening, this is boring. I don't know. That first episode was so interesting to me. Just setting the scene and the characters and then just them being wolves. It's that classic thing of, is it a one-shot or a mini-series? You never know until it ends. That's like the tagline for Sheepdog. It's like, you never know what it is until it ends, you know? You never know what, like, I don't think I've ever done a show on my channel at this point where I've been like, we're doing 1 episode. It's like, we're doing some episodes. I don't know how many. I can't commit to like a day or anything. Anyway, you can totally burn all your bridges. You're doing a rebrand, so no one will know it's you. That's a good point. Yeah, or just a setting where that is like where like it's not a problem if you don't world build because it's just it's just like a certain situation. I don't know. I have a few ideas. I'm trying not to talk about them because you know. One shot in Weirgate? Oh, could be. But if I did that on Table Story, everyone would be like, what the fuck is Weirgate? You know what? We have just about hit the 1 hour mark for the Q&A after show and everything. There's not too much I need to talk about for Moonkissed specifically. I just figured I'd open up the floor to just a general chat. So I'm not closing up. If anyone has any more questions or any more things they want to know or just talk about in regards to channel shows, etc. But if we're all good in terms of questions, then we're all good and we can close things up. Shut up, shop. Oh, one of the reasons I don't want to make this too long, and this is the thing, ages ago, you remember when I was like, oh, before we start with the questions, let me just say this, I forgot what it was. I want to plumb your guys' brains. I'm thinking of, at the end of this Q&A, if I put it up on the YouTube, I'm thinking of putting, like, the intro video thing you know, with the wolves and the thing, and then just having like the music, maybe like a snippet of the music, with the name and like with the name and title, so everyone knows what the music is. Because I feel like, in terms of like Moonkissed, the music was super important, and very good at setting the scene and the like atmosphere. So I kind of wanna highlight all the people who made the music that I got for the show. So what do you guys think on that? Well, I'd hope that those who might think bridges burned would instead take it as constructive criticism from a peer, because I enjoy hearing views and opinions. Yeah, and an unfortunate aspect of me is I don't tend to hold back. Not hold back. I don't tend to like sugarcoat it when I'm like, oh yeah, you know, oh, these people, I love these people, I hope to work with them, so I'm going to be as nice as possible because, you know. The music is great, would be good to give credit. So yeah, what do you guys think in terms of music? Would you like for example, this is the theme song. It would go in first, and it would just be like a clip, like maybe 20 to 30 seconds with like the title of the artist and title, so that if people wanted to know what the music was and where to find it, they could do that. Also, I think we're probably going basically like a video of the Moonkissed OST. It would just be on the end of this Q&A would just be like the art with the snow falling, and then just in the top left corner probably just like a little text that said you know, let's have a look here. I've named all of them so I know what they're doing. Like, I've got one that's like, theme song, melancholy. It's like, okay, Sheepy, but that doesn't tell you now what they're called. So for example, Sunkissed, Moonkissed, like, Enwi Cody High is like the, you know, one of the songs, and it would just be like up there in the top. So for example, this one's called this one I'm just about to play is called Protector of the Sky by Joe Wandrini. It was instrumental in that like epic fight scene and etc. I love this song. I really want to use it again. It's such an epic feel to it, of like desperation and like epic, you know, you could use it in a few different ways, but so good. I don't know how I was so lucky to find this. God, I love it so much. So yeah, in that case, if there's even if there's just a few people interested, I do want to give some props to the people who made this music, because it's copyright free. I can play it on YouTube and Twitch without worrying. And it does take me a bit of time to like hunt down the like piece I need for some things. So I'll do like after I cut the end of this stream, I'll edit in like just like a little bit with the music pieces, so that anyone who wants can like be like, oh, I really liked Moonkissed. I loved the music. Oh, there's music info or soundtrack info, I guess, and you can go and find the music for yourselves if you want. So, I think we're gonna call things there. Thank you very much, everyone who watched and thank you everyone who watched Moonkist, because I wasn't sure if it was gonna be a thing that people enjoyed or not, and it seems to have been a lot more same as Sunkist. It seems to have been a lot more popular than I was expecting it to be. So I will be happy if that keeps happening. Yeah. Yeah, I'll mention the music and info in the description and everything. So next week we're back with Sunkist. We have a few upcoming shows. We have a brand change for the Twitch channel. A little bit of a brand change for the YouTube. I'm hoping to start doing YouTube things soon. So hopefully you'll start seeing things that aren't just the TTRPG show we do on here, a few extra things that I'm thinking and planning and doing and everything. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Those of you watching on YouTube, it is now going to transition to the music of Moonkist, what they are called, what the artists' names are, and what the title of the song is. So you can go and find them for yourself if you like. There's some really good pieces in there. And hopefully see you on Sunkist.